Okay. All right. Good morning, everyone. I'm so happy you all could join us today. My name is Kate Giovan Batista. I'm the founder of Beyond Maine, and today we're joined by Stephanie Lager of Mingo Creative Co. And today's topic is Email 101, the secret to really good emails. As a general reminder, if you're new to Beyond Maine, welcome. We're so glad you're here. Beyond Maine is a cooperative technology company that's really looking to connect community and commerce. So our platform focuses on utilizing technology to support small businesses and communities and through the creation of hyperlocal marketplaces that hopefully impact economic development and community revitalization. And we believe local isn't defined by a geography any longer and seeks to be the top destination for shopping local online anywhere. If you're interested in getting to know more about Beyond Maine or signing up to become a seller or signing up to become a shopper, you can visit beyondmaine.com and register. And if you have questions or want to connect after the call, this is my email, kate@beyondmaine.com. So feel free to drop me a note. Would love to connect offline and learn more about your business or your community. And so why are we all here? Well, we feel at Main Street, we're better when we can collectively learn and grow and share our general knowledges, our general challenges, and also work together to help shape the future of the communities and the local economies that we want to create. And so that's really the driving force behind these monthly Main Street collective calls. As a general kind of overview, this is sort of the way the sessions work. So we do meet every second Tuesday of each month at 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. We'll always discuss some macro and micro trends that we see or share Beyond Maine insights and marketplace happenings. We usually are joined by guest speakers or subject matter experts within topics that our community has kind of identified they'd like a little assistance on or extra training. And then we always leave time for Q&A at the end. So some general reminders, and I will drop these links in the chat if you have the interest to participate or would love to tell us more. We have partner resources that are available to our sellers, as well as ways you can connect with us at local events. One being this week, we're a sponsor of the Downtown New Jersey conference, so you can pop over and see us there at the conference. We do have a platform survey that's going on right now that will help influence our next set of integrations. We also would love to hear your feedback on 22 suggestions for topics. And then we have all of our sessions are recorded and you can listen to them on our YouTube channel, and I will supply that link to you in the chat as well. And you'll get an email for today's recording once it's been posted. While we're here, I'm gonna actually launch a quick survey because I would love to know what additional challenges you're currently facing. So I'm gonna take 2 minutes. You're gonna see a screen pop up with a poll, and I'd like you to choose your top 3. This will really help us influence the guest speakers that we ask to come join us each month. So go ahead, I'm going to take 2 seconds, and if you could just choose your top 3 challenges that you're currently facing, we'd love to know what is top of mind for you. All right, we'll give it just 10 more seconds. Make your final selections. Awesome. All Okay, I'll go ahead and close out the poll. Thank you all for participating. And we will keep it moving. So as you might remember from our previous call last month, we sort of highlighted our 2021 recap, or sort of the 6 observations that we're really looking to kind of influence our work for 2022. I'm happy to say, like, we're kind of making, some steady progress on providing you educational content around these top 6 observations. So today we'll be discussing, leveling up your email. And if anyone has questions on SMS marketing, we could certainly kind of get some preliminary questions for a future session on that topic. But one important kind of learning that came out of the Shopify release their 2022 trends report, and I thought there were some really interesting statistics within there. It was conducted by Forrester, and it kind of pulls together a lot of like interesting data on not just like e-commerce, but really retail and then logistics, which are kind of influencing sort of the total landscape of retail in general, and now kind of omni-channel and this sort of very fluid environment that we have to learn to operate in. But I thought what was really interesting is some of these like underlying consumer habits that are continuing to kind of push how technology is influencing our behavior, but also how it's impacting physical retail as well. And so what the survey found, or what the research found, is that 47% of consumers said having a local presence was a significant factor for which brands they shop from. Not only that, there was a greater emphasis on sustainability, environmental impacts, and customers choosing to support and partner with local stores that they trusted, that they felt like shared these same values. And we're concerned about environmental and sustainability efforts. So I bring that up just as a precursor to what we're going to talk about today in terms of email marketing, and kind of knowing what is pulling your customers towards you and how you can influence your email marketing to kind of really be speaking the language that consumers are most wanting to hear from their brands, from their retail stores, and from their community. The commerce report really focuses on these 3 key areas: e-commerce, retail, and shipping and logistics. And I will send out the full report. So if you're really, love to dive into the data, there's so much great information. But these are really kind of the key takeaways. E-commerce, rising acquisition costs and the death of third-party cookies is really making it hard to acquire customers online. And I think that challenge is going to continue. So fostering really deep and intimate relationships with your customers is going to be even more important. And email is one great medium to do that. Within retail, we're going to see more pressure from digitally native brands opening retail stores. So begin to kind of see that competition shift from online also into physical retail, with more digitally native brands opening up retail locations. And the use of retail staff is really kind of shifting their role, their responsibilities, what we ask of them. And so therefore, there's going to be a level of reskilling that's going to need to happen at the retail level as well. And increasing retail associates, technology capabilities, as well as their understanding of customer experience and journey. And then shipping and logistics obviously plays an important role in this, on-time delivery, scheduling, and transparency around getting and access to goods. But what's, I think, very inspiring to me is that social and environmental impacts will define the new era of shipping logistics. And so I think there's a lot of hope in how we continue to receive our goods and can participate in more sustainable practices around shipping and logistics. And so with that, I want to kick it over and introduce Stephanie Lager of Mango Creative Co. Stephanie has a wealth of knowledge in the marketing and advertising space. And today she's going to walk us through her secret to really good emails. So Steph, I'm going to stop sharing my screen, and why don't you go ahead and take it away?
Awesome. Hi, guys. So good to be here. let me just get going. Technical difficulties, one sec. Okay. That's a lot of loading. Can you guys see? No. Oh, you can? You can see this?
Yeah, you're all good.
Okay, perfect. There's like a weird buffering view on my side, but okay, let's get going. So before diving in, I just want to give a little bit of background about Mango and why I'm talking to you guys about email marketing. So we are a creative first woman founded marketing and ad agency that's really focused on creative and strategy that performs. And part of our mission is making marketing and creative talent accessible to brands of all sizes. So anywhere from startups and small e-com brands to larger companies. And basically what we do is kind of pretty full service. So everything from copy and strategy and design to video work, spanning email, web, social, paid ads, large out of home campaigns, SEO, content strategy, pretty much everything under the sun. And these are just a few brands that we work with, including Beyond Maine. And then now diving into the power of email. So before we jump into some best practices, I just want to give a little overview about why we're talking about email and why it's so important. And Kate kind of just touched on this as acquisition costs are continuing to get higher and higher. Email is such an amazing tool for reaching your customers and staying engaged with them. So there's 4.3 billion email users and 332 billion emails sent a day, which is obviously a huge, huge amount. And basically with email, you got to reach people any single day, any hour of the day, which was just such a valuable tool. Another great part about email is the ROI impact. So it's estimated that on average, every dollar you spend on ads, on email, sorry, you get $42 back. So huge potential there. Another reason I love email is because it's a great way to gauge the success of your content. You got to see in real time how many people are clicking this type of email versus this type of email. If I do this A/B test versus this A/B test, what do I learn? What resonates? Also, 81% of small businesses rely on email for customer acquisition and 89% for retention. So again, huge potential. And another stat that I love is that 49% of consumers actually want to hear from their favorite brands weekly. So there is great intent on the consumer side. People do want to hear from you. So email is a direct line of communication to your customers, and basically it's kind of a responsibility. Like, what are you going to do with this ability to reach people at any instant? So some things that we want to do, we want to delight them, we want to provide value, we want to educate and excite them and inspire them and motivate them, surprise them, and we want to have fun. Emails should be fun, they should be enjoyable. People are bombarded with so many things in their inbox. How are you going to stand out, make someone smile, make someone's day, give someone a piece of valuable content? So some things that we don't want to do is bombarding them. We don't want to be pushy. We don't want to just be too sales focused. We don't want to like lose that heart and that connection, which is really what makes consumers want to connect to your brand. So moving into strategic CRM, what I think is kind of the best way to think about this is how are you balancing your sales and your business objectives with delighting your audience? So how are you doing what you need to do on the business side of things, but still getting people excited and giving them value? So a few ways to think about that is understanding what your consumer wants and being really clear about your solution. And another great way to do that is through testing. And then focusing on your solution, which of course is your product and your service, but it's also the brand value that you have beyond that. Like, what is the mission? Why are you here? What are you giving to people in your community that's serving your purpose and your grander vision for existing? And then focusing on how your solution will enhance their lives. So for example, we're going to look at a brand, Lunya, a little bit later. They're a sleepwear company. They don't just sell sleepwear, they help people have better sleep, which leads to better days, which leads to better health, which leads to a better life. So focusing on that positioning of the value this is going to bring to their life. And then connecting to them emotionally, telling a story and relating to something that they can personally relate to is a great way to keep people engaged and make sure that they care. And then being conscious of what's happening in the world and tying it back to your brand, and also always just speaking to them like they're a human, like they're a friend, not just their potential sales and money for you. So story is everything. And some ways to merge storytelling with strategy is, of course, first, every email, you want to have a purpose, you want it to provide value, and you want it to reflect your unique brand. That's why they're getting an email from you, not from someone else. And some ways to do that is to create a content calendar that really aligns your business objectives with current events, with your brand values, with aligned moments happening in the world where you can have a strong point of view. Crafting a narrative, even if it's just sending a 20% out discount, adding personality, and of course, driving excitement, interest, and urgency with really great design and copy. So now we're going to look at some email examples. So these are some ways that you can drive purchases without just saying buy this. So thinking about creative ways to talk about your product or service in ways that are a little bit more elaborate than just something super basic. So this Lunya examples for Valentine's Day on the left, to you, you shouldn't have from you. Look at you leaving behind all those things that don't serve your highest self. Keep the self-love train going by gifting yourself dreamy sleepwear that'll carry you from me time, nighttime routines to me time morning affirmations. We're really digging this moment for you. So again, super focused on the user, crafting a story about it, bringing in values, not just, hey, buy this sleepwear for Valentine's Day. And also with Mate the Label on the right, straight to the heart, our love language, clean essentials. And then they show 3 of their products, but they added this cute little way of framing each one of them. So rose for the romantic, bone for the partner in crime, and cherry for the flirt. So here are 2 more examples of how to take kind of a traditional sales email, make it a little bit more interesting, add a little bit of personality to it. These 2 are from Milk Bar, which is a client of ours at Mango. And so I'll read this one on the left. This is for Cyber Monday. So again, trying to create urgency. A really specific point to the email was a final call for free shipping. And the subject line was, what goes with Cyber Monday? Dessert. The tastiest slice of the internet still has free shipping site-wide on orders over $80, but that ends tonight. So if you've been looking for an excuse to get yourself a little treat, well, here it is. And this had an open rate of almost 42%, which is double the benchmark according to MailChimp, kind of the average open rate for emails, which is about 21%. And then on the right, another example that was for Thanksgiving. Thanksgiving is 15 days away. Order your pie now, they're almost gone. Our pies are almost sold out. Don't worry, we said almost. Get yours delivered ASAP to avoid the stress of a last minute pie run, because we don't know about you, but we'd only run for Milk Bar pie. So again, taking 2 super simple, pretty standard emails that a company might want to send, but figuring out how do you put that brand spin on it? How do you bring a story to it? So here are some examples of what not to do. Overall, we don't want to bombard and overwhelm our email list, which I know we talked about. We really want to make sure every email has a clear goal and focus. Of course, don't want anything to look low quality or spammy. Also having inconsistencies with a messaging or design hierarchy can be confusing, and we really want to make sure the user knows exactly what we want them to do immediately. So for example, in this Home Depot email, we can see there's a lot going on. All of these rectangles that they have, like mobile app, my list, all their social platforms at the bottom, they're all kind of competing for attention. You don't really know which one you're supposed to click on. And that's kind of the point of this email a little bit, because they're trying to show you that, oh, with Home Depot, you have access to all of these things, but it's not done in the most successful way. So really just making sure that it's clear visually and with copy exactly what you want someone to do. So here's another example of what not to do. So this is an example from Planet Fitness. And if you're looking at this email, you probably couldn't tell that it's from Planet Fitness because it looks exactly like it's from 1-800-Flowers. And of course, they're sending this promotion from 1-800-Flowers, but it feels like it's coming from another brand. It's also pretty cheesy and cliche in the copy. Say yes to the special offer for a special someone. Roses are red, violets are blue, 20% off just for you at 1-800-Flowers. It's lacking emotion and a story and the tie back to the brand. So some ways that I would improve this is just relating it back to Planet Fitness, like bringing it back to, let's say this is going out in February, right? So potentially new people started going to the gym in January. How do we tie it back to that? Like you've recommitted to your fitness goal. You've been doing a great job showing up at the gym. You deserve a treat. Like treat yourself this Valentine's Day. And they could even do a campaign targeting disengaged users who maybe haven't come to the gym in a while and telling them to, show yourself some love with this flower promo and recommit to your fitness goals. We believe in you, kind of a way to bring them back in and again, tie it back to the brand's purpose and what that brand does. So again, always telling a story, even if you're just selling a super simple product focus email, like you're launching a new product or a new service, you just want to get the word out. How do you turn that into a compelling story, both visually and with copy? So again, this is an example from Milk Bar. We were launching the fried caramel apple pie snap, and it was during fall. And so we had this narrative about fall in a snap, literally introducing our fried caramel apple pie snap, a pocket-sized treat that lets you take fall anywhere. So again, that's really the value. It's not just, this is a delicious treat that you can eat. It's really, this is a delicious treat that reminds you of fall. It's compact and bite-sized, so you can actually take that feeling of fall anywhere. And we even have a line at the end, one bite and you'll instantly feel like the leaves are changing. So painting that picture in the consumer's mind, giving them a story, giving them an emotion to connect to, really makes your product and your brand be memorable. And then this example on the right is from Parade. They launched a set of, or 3 sets of their underwear with tarot cards. And so they did this really cute kind of combo storytelling where they have this psychedelic gradient throughout. Meet our latest packs, energy, harmony, and serenity, featuring colors to rebalance your yin and yang. Super simple, not a lot of copy, but there's that through line of the story and it really brings it all together. So here's a little checklist that is good to just refer back to when you're creating emails and seeing, like, is this putting my best foot forward? Is this kind of the best way that I can talk about this and communicate this and get this point across to my viewer? So do I have a clear goal and purpose of the email? Is it on brand? Is it providing value? Is it short and sweet? We don't want like paragraphs and paragraphs of copy, which was kind of the norm on like sales copy emails, 10 years ago. Is the image clear, crisp, and high quality? Do I have a hook to grab readers? Am I starting with a punch so they're engaged? Is the email interesting? Would people actually want to read this? Does it clearly state what I want the user to do? Have I explained what problem my product and service is solving? And does it reflect my brand and represent it in the best light? Also, will the subject line stand out and entice someone to open? Subject lines are huge, obviously. That's the first encounter you have with a consumer when they see your email in their inbox and they just see the subject line in the preview. So you really want that to be hardworking. So how to make email work for you, we're going to go into some specific tactics. So Of course, before you can be sending emails to your list, you have to have the list in the first place, and you have to grow that list and maintain that list. And that's the way to do that, is really to get people excited to join your community. And so one of the best and easiest ways to get people on your email list is through an email capture on your website, a pop-up. I'm sure you guys have seen those. And that's really where you want to figure out what can you offer, whether that's a promo, whether that's the value that you're going to get from getting the emails. Incentivizing in store is also a great way to do this. So if you do have a brick and mortar location, when people are there, you can have, signage, marketing collateral in there talking about perhaps a promo, some kind of incentive, sign up to get a free, give us your email to get a free this, or to join our free event, or to get a percentage off, anything like that. Partners and giveaways is a great way to cross promote too. You can partner with other brands and have them feature you in their email. And then of course the link to your website, and you can get the email capture that way. Lead gen ads is another great way to get email. So that's when you run ads typically on Facebook and Instagram, for example, or Meta, I should say, where you see information about like a free content. Give us your email to get this free guide, and we're going to tell you the secret to really good emails, or come to this event in exchange for your email. And then referral programs is also great. So that's where you incentivize people to send something to a friend, and they get $20 off or 20% off, whatever promo you want to give there. And then another great way is just driving traffic to the site. If you want more email signups and you have an email capture, you just need to get more people to the website. And so you can do that, of course, with advertising, but also with SEO optimized content on your blog. So here's some examples of some email captures. We can see 10% off is super common and a great way to get people to give their email. And doing this in a fun, branded way works really well. You also want to make sure that you have an X, like we're seeing here, so people can click out. You're not shoving it down their throat. You don't want to be too disruptive. So having this pop up at least 15 seconds after they're on the website. You don't want it to be the first thing and like the whole website is gated and you can't click out. That's not a great user experience. So the beauty of strategic drip campaigns. So drip campaigns are automated flows that you set up. And so basically you don't have to think every, let's say you're sending 3 emails a week. You don't have to think about, what is this email that I'm going to send? Automated flows, you set them up, and once they're set up, they're good to go. And people just come into the funnel and your automated flow moves them through. So they're amazing for that reason, and also because they're super strategic. And we're going to go over a few that are the best ones to implement first. But what's also great is that most email software systems actually have drip campaign functionality. So it's really easy to kind of set these up. So the first one that I want to talk about is welcome series. So this is huge. And the reason it's huge is because, well, a few reasons, but one of the reasons is because the average open rate of a welcome series is actually 82% compared to a normal email, which is around 21. So people love welcome series. They do really well. It's the first encounter with the brand. You just gave them your email from the email capture, and they don't know what to expect from you. So they're curious. And so they're going to open this email. So it's an amazing opportunity to give them a great introduction to your brand, make them happy that they gave you their email, and really sell them on the vision and mission and what you're here to do and your values and the value that they're going to get from being a part of this community. And of course, giving that discount code, you get the email, and then in that welcome series, you can have the discount code displayed. So I want to go over a couple examples. So we have Bando here. Nice to meet you. Here's what to expect from our emails. Lots of new products, some cool photos, a few jokes, maybe a dancing cat here and there, and woohoo, exclusive deals like this one for 10% off. And then Casper, a little bit of a different tone, really well done, super reflective of their brand. Hello, dreamer. Welcome to a world of better sleep. We can't wait for you to get to know us and our award-winning products. Together, we can make bedtime the very best time. Let's get sleepy. Super fun CTA. And then they go into some value props of Casper and kind of dispel any fears or worries or obstacles that people might be thinking if they're hesitant to purchase. So we're bed serious. Our R&D team in San Francisco designs products for the most comfortable sleep possible. So rest assured, thanks to people like you, we are America's #1 rated mattress brand. Pretty cool, huh? We got you covered. Every Casper mattress comes with a 100-night trial. Return super simple. So again, if you're on the fence, they talk about their free trial and the returns. So here's another couple welcome series that really weave in the benefit of the product, what you can expect, and basically getting people engaged. This is what we want to do in a welcome series, and it can be anywhere from just one email, and then some welcome series will have 3, 5 emails down the line. Once you learn what customers are resonating with, you can expand on that welcome series. So this example from Headspace is also super cute. Well done. By signing up, you've taken your first step towards a happier, healthier life. We'll do everything we can to help and support you as you learn the life-changing skill of meditation. Start meditating. So here they're not really pushing their product that much. They're just getting you excited, positioning themselves as a friend and as a helper, someone who's on this journey with you and wants you to do well and wants you to succeed in integrating meditation into your life. And then start with the basics. For now, you have access to the basics or 10-day beginner's course and a few special one-off meditations. So then they go on kind of giving you examples. And then later on in that email, which is cut off here, they talked about, oh, but if you want a subscription, so kind of the light nods to getting people into those revenue driving parts of the business. So the second flow that's really important to get set up is abandoned cart. And the reason for that is because there's the biggest revenue potential here of any email that you're ever going to send. So 3 abandoned cart emails actually get 69% more revenue than just any average 1 email can. So again, huge potential. And the reason for that is because someone put something in their cart, they're about to check out and they haven't for whatever reason. They were distracted, they second guessed, something came up. You don't know, but what you do know is they had the idea to purchase this. And so how do we get them over that hump to actually convert? So even though this is a pretty transactional email by design, you still want to make it engaging, let your brand shine. This is really your final sell to the consumer. So reminding them of why they wanted the product in the first place and why it's desirable, why it's going to improve their life is really key. And again, dispelling any of those barriers like cost, which we saw Casper do really well in the welcome series, and we're going to see this Cotopaxi do well here as well. So this Latote email, still thinking it over, renter's remorse, no such thing. So again, reminding you, oh, might you regret this decision? You're not going to. Your cart full of endless fashion is about to expire. When your day begins with a meeting and ends with a client dinner, you need access to outfits that keep pace. Join Latote and start renting workwear that really works. And then Cotopaxi has this going gone kind of urgent FOMO-y angle that they're using. It looks like you left something in your cart. Hurry, snag your favorites before they're gone. So that FOMO messages can work really well for people. You don't want to miss out. Someone else might snag this. And then again, below the checkout, they have this still on the fence section. So again, trying to dispel any of those barriers to purchase. And they talk about Affirm, which is payment options. So, presenting the fact that if this is too high of a purchase for you or you're worried about cost, you can pay over time. Here are a couple more examples. This whiskey company, you left whiskey in your cart. You can do this. It's a super kind of empowering angle. Whiskey deliciousness was within your grasp, but you faltered at the final hurdle. Don't worry though. We're still holding it in your cart and you can complete checkout anytime. And then Rooted is another great example. You left something behind. That's all right. We still love you. We even saved the items that you were looking at just in case you wanted to take another look. Don't be creeped out. We simply love you. So again, really cute, really reflective of these brands' voice, their brand identity, making these emails fun, making it seem like they're talking to you and they care about you and they're connecting with you, which is really what resonates and makes someone want to do something and want to be a part of it. And then Alex Mill on the right, here's another great example. And this is probably something that they tested and something that any of you guys can test too, which is, okay, so you can try one where you're leaning into your brand values piece or your brand voice piece or dispelling the barriers. And then you can also just hit them with a promo. So if someone has something in their cart and you're like, hey, now it's 15% off, what does that do to the purchase conversion? Probably pretty high. So flow 3, which are nurture campaigns. So of course, every email that you send, you want to be nurturing your consumer and slowly weaving them into the brand and slowly telling them why they want what you're selling. But they're also really important for when you're doing a lead gen campaign. So that's when you're running ads on Facebook or Instagram and you're trying to get new people, prospects who don't know about your brand to get involved. So potentially giving away that free content for an email. Maybe it's some other form of just an ad or a graphic talking about something that you guys sell or a service that you provide. And so with nurture campaigns, you want it to not be super salesy. This example for that we have here on the right is from a men's shaving company, and you can see it's not like talking about the features. It's not talking about why their shaving cream is superior to others. It's telling men, giving them a guide to getting a baby face, but it's giving them some actual valuable piece of content that they could use even if you don't use their product. And that's really the point here. The value piece is there. They're not shoving the product down your throat, but they're taking you on this journey and they're showing you why and how they're going to provide you the value that you want. So another flow is engagement or win back. So this is for when people have lapsed. So if you have someone who's been engaging with your emails and then all of a sudden they haven't opened them, they haven't clicked in them, they haven't interacted with them for a period of time, you want to re-engage them. You want to try to win them back. So some ways to do that is just reminding them of who you are. You know, maybe they just get bombarded with emails. They forgot about why they cared about your product or service in the first place. So bringing them back by sweetening them with an incentive like a deal or a promo or something else is a great way to win them back. And you can try different approaches here and kind of test and see what message, what angle, what promo perhaps works the best. And you can also test what that lapsed audience looks like in terms of, are they 60 days lapsed? Are they 90? Are they 120? So you can kind of play with that too and see where the sweet spot is. So this is an example from Duolingo. We haven't seen you in a while. Do you still want to learn a language? Take a 5-minute lesson now. And of course we have kind of this sad little guy here too, being like, we miss you and where did you go? And come back to us, showing that they care that you're gone, less like, oh, you haven't used Duolingo in a while, like don't forget to do it. It's a little bit more of a slow sell and getting people, just talking to them like they're a human and connecting to them emotionally, like we've been talking about. So some tips for successful emails. So super important to invest in a well-designed template that you can adapt for different types of emails. So whether you're sending a promotional email, you're sending a new product launch, you're just talking about your story, your founder story, why you're here, some event you're putting on, what you're doing in the community, other brands that you partner with, whatever the content is, having a couple templates that you can easily use, add to, switch is just going to make your life a lot easier. Making sure emails are designed mobile first is really important. More people are looking at emails on their phone than on desktop, so you definitely want to keep that in mind. Experimenting with personalized subject lines is also huge. Personalized subject lines typically increase open rates by a lot. So that's when, you know, the email subject line starts with like, hey, Kate, we haven't seen you in a while. So putting the person's name in, which when you do the email capture, making sure that you have first name as a field in there so you have that information. And then experimenting with GIFs and videos is also great. They can increase clicks by 300%. People want it. People want motion and they want to be entertained a little bit, and we want to keep their focus. And then playing with promos, so different amounts, different audiences, seeing what sticks. So one of my favorite parts of email is using it to test, learn, and grow, not only to optimize your emails, but to also bring that back into your brand and company as a whole. So there's so many things that you can test with email. And I really encourage you guys to get curious and start A/B testing different things and segmenting your audience and thinking about all the different things that you can test, because mastering email really comes down to knowing what your customers want, and testing is really the best way to do that. So you can start segmenting your list and testing different messages, different copy to learn what moves the needle. You can do this through segmentation test. So some audience tests that are just pretty standard that you can start doing, which we kind of just spoke about, engaged versus disengaged, sending them different messages or sending them the same message and seeing what does this work better in new users versus loyalty users. So maybe new users that have just come to your brand need a little bit more nurturing. They need to hear about your story. They need a longer welcome series. And maybe, the customers that you've had for a year or 2 years need a different kind of message. Maybe they care more about hearing about the founder more than maybe a new customer does, because maybe they don't really know and care so much yet. Maybe you have to build that up. So there's a lot of different things that you can test. Maybe old loyalty customers love certain products that you guys have had for a long time, and new users don't necessarily have that connection to those. You can also test different things people have purchased. So if they've purchased this item versus that items, you can segment the list for that, getting them to make a return purchase. And what is the angle? What is the best way to connect? Oh, if they liked this product, will they like this one versus that one? And then consumer and corporate lists is also a great way to segment your list. So corporate meaning anyone that has like a work email as the email that they have, versus just their regular consumer. So here's an A/B test that I wanted to share. We did this for Milk Bar, and typically you would think that a CTA above the fold is always going to perform better, because you're driving people directly to what you want them to do, directly to shop or buy. So we tested having the CTA above the fold on the right and below the fold on the left. And actually the one below the fold on the left worked better in this case, which is pretty obvious because of this amazing drool-worthy cake with this maple syrup slowly dripping on it. And people wanted to see that image. They wanted to get enticed by it. It's beautiful. It's alluring. It makes you drool. So, that's why tests are so important, because what works or has worked for one brand doesn't necessarily mean it's going to translate. What worked for one email doesn't necessarily mean that's always going to be the case. So you want to be consistently testing and learning these things. And so here are some great things to start with testing. Subject lines, as we talked about, send times, audiences, the tone. Is a more fun tone or a more empowering tone work better for your audience? Is it need to be a little bit more serious? Does it need to be more fun and lighthearted? Also, lengths of email. Does your customer and community want a lot of content? Do they want just bite-sized content? The subject matter and how you're kind of framing things, what you're relating it back to. Do they care about current events? Do they care about politics? Do they care about healthcare? Do they care what are they concerned about? Are they parents? Do they care about their kids? Are they, whatever the case might be, but figuring out what are these things related to your brand and your business, and what do you know about your customers? Use cases too. So playing with different ways that people might want to use your product or service. Are they wanting this pancake cake because they love the diner, or because they're obsessed with breakfast and they want to eat breakfast all times of the day, or they just love a crazy unique thing? Like what are those reasons, and what is the use case of using and eating here that product? Of course, storytelling, which we've talked a bit about, and promos. So bringing it all together. So email is just one piece of the integrated marketing puzzle, and the way to really master email and marketing is creating this synergy between the different channels. So an integrated strategy that encapsulates email, social, paid ads, blog is really the key to organic growth. And when all of those pieces are working together beautifully, that's when you not only connect really well with your consumer, but you also get the benefit of all these channels working together. More clicks, more links, interlinking, backlinking in between these places is creating synergy on the internet, and it's great for algorithms. Google loves it. It helps give a boost to your brand and the content that you have. So making sure that every touch point is really strategic and branded and memorable is really what differentiates mediocre brands from brands that people adore and are obsessed with and continue to engage with. And using email to boost web and blog traffic is another great kind of byproduct of email. So if you're sending people, obviously in an email, you're sending people to your website or you're sending people to a blog, perhaps that traffic is great. And the more traffic you send to those pages signals to Google that you have valuable content. And then it wants to rank that content higher. And then leveraging social content and email and vice versa is great too. So you can make your life easier and you can reuse pieces here and there. So you're not creating from scratch new content for every channel all the time. And that's everything. I hope that was helpful and valuable for you guys. It was great walking through that. And here are some ways to stay in touch with me and Mango. We have our website linked. We're also on Instagram at Mango Creative Co. And yeah, I guess we're going to move into a Q&A now.
That was awesome. So much great information. Okay, so let's go ahead and open it up to questions. Feel free to come off mute and you can just ask. We have a small group today. So Steph, if you want to stop sharing your screen, then we can maybe get a good, there we go. There's everyone. If anyone has any questions, feel free to go ahead and fire away at Steph.
Hi, I'm Rachel. I'll have a couple. Thanks so much, Stephanie. That was so amazing and informative, and I was just like absorbing everything. And a couple of questions popped up. I know that you were talking about the subject line a lot, and I'm just curious, like your take on. I feel like the space of emails is just getting like very predictable now, where we see subject lines being really kind of grabby and like, or something, for instance, like Rachel, I can't believe I'm doing this or something, like some of those really, and it's almost like there's this, I mean, I guess that's going to be very personal to each brand and how their tone is for that. But like, I was curious your opinion about that. And also, well, I'll ask the other part was just about graphics and like kind of your take on their importance as well.
Yeah, so your first question is great. And I think that's kind of a really aggressive subject line, right? And I also see people doing these things where they do like a forward or like an RE, like they're responding to a previous email. And it's like obvious that you didn't email them before and they didn't forward you something. And that's just a tactic. So I think in general, a lot of those things, like they might work, but I think they're a little cheap. And I think it's better to connect to someone with something valuable instead of like a trick or a gimmick. It doesn't mean you should never try them, but I think people can see through that. Like to your point, you're noticing it and it's pretty obvious what they're trying to do. So I think delight them, wow them, like come at it from another perspective. Like it just feels a little bit desperate. This is the only way you can grab my attention is by making me think that I'm going to lose out on something and it's really going to hurt my life, or I'm, emailed them before when I didn't. Like, not necessary. I think do it with a powerful message instead. Do it in an empowering way or a lighthearted way, a fun way. And your other point about graphics is, yes, graphics are super important. But I think mainly for email and especially for small businesses, if you can't invest so much time and energy into, having a graphic designer helping you, there are a lot of tools like Canva. There's a lot of built-in templates in MailChimp or Klaviyo or constant contact if you just invest in getting that template down, and then you're just swapping out images and staying away from stock images that look really fake and really stock and overused, and trying to think a little bit more creatively around what kind of image can I put here, that's maybe not so literal, that is pretty and eye-catching and just kind of shows that my brand is elevated and is talking about what I want it to talk about, but in a little bit of a more interesting way. Does that answer your question?
Yeah, thank you. That was great. Thank you.
Yeah, my pleasure.
I have a couple questions actually. So how do you have any tips on having your emails, like preventing them from ending up in spam and trash folders when you send them out from like a MailChimp service? I'm just wondering if there's anything as the sender you can do that will help it more land in their inbox, or even I guess in their like priority for promotions in some way.
Yes. So I think if they give you their email, you should have a better chance of it not going into a promotion folder. Also, if your email looks good according to that email server, so there isn't spammy things happening in it, the email isn't have something in the subject line that kind of flags it as potential spam. If it's going into the promotion folder, it might be because it's super promotional heavy. So that's again when we can try to weave in more of the storytelling or emotional angle, so it doesn't just seem like a sales email. I think there are some just technical things too to look at just on the back end of whatever you're sending it from, like MailChimp, to make sure that MailChimp likes the email, like everything is done properly according to them. But yeah, you'd have to kind of take a look and see why that's happening.
Okay. I just noticed it more so recently.
Really?
And like even from, I don't know if something changed. And even I've noticed like people that are in my contacts, like their personal emails are ending up in my trash or spam folder, which is weird. So I don't know if it's Google, like if it's Gmail, because that's my personal provider, or if it's something with the email service automation platform. But I don't know, something kind of changed recently, I feel. I just didn't know if you've noticed it too.
That stuff will just happen. Like I remember a year ago, I was emailing someone that we were gonna work with. They were a media buyer, and then I was like, cool, want to move forward. And then I didn't get a response for them. And then like a month later, he reached out and was like, so weird to not hear from you. I'm like, I sent you 7 emails. And he was like, oh my God, they all went into my spam folder. So sometimes weird things will just happen like that we can't really get around, or maybe it's Mercury retrograde.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Always. And then my last quick question is frequency. Is there like a frequency number that you advise around? I mean, I know some businesses send them religiously at like Sunday night or Monday morning, and then others kind of it's a little bit more inconsistent, but the messaging is always kind of consistent. It's just that their timing is like never consistent of when you receive them.
Yeah, so frequency is a great thing to talk about, and it really kind of depends on your brand and your strategy. I'd say you don't want to, as we were talking about, you don't want to bombard people and send too many emails, but you also don't want to not be relevant and not be showing up. So finding that balance for you. I think it also depends the content. Like, are you just pushing product? Are you talking about events in your community? Like, what is the email? A lot of brands send an email out a day. That's probably a lot for a smaller business. Maybe 2 to 3 times a week makes more sense. But again, it really depends. Like if you're doing one that's kind of sales focused, if you're doing another one that's a little bit more content focused, if you're doing another one that's a little bit more about, hey, these are some things going on in the community, maybe that's 3. figuring out what those content buckets are. So what type of email are you sending on a weekly or monthly basis? And then you can kind of map that out on the calendar and be like, okay, I know I want one of each of these every week, or I have 7 content buckets. I want one of each of these every month. So kind of thinking about it holistically, like what is the whole month going to look like? And then figuring out what is the best way to balance that. And also you can test it. Try sending 4 emails a week and see, are you getting unsubscribes? Are people opening it? And then try sending 2 and seeing, are you getting more open rates? Do people like only having the 2 emails versus the 4? Is that too much? Testing that with revenue perspective is also interesting to look at. For example, Milk Bar, when we send 7 or 8 emails a week, the revenue can be up to 200K a week. When we're sending, 2 or 3 emails a week, it might be closer to 40 or 50K. So of course, more emails is going to equal more revenue, but you have to balance that with knowing that, it might get annoying.
Okay. Great. Anybody else have any final questions? Ask while you're here. Steph's an expert. Oh, we can't hear you, Sylvia. It looks like you might be trying to ask a question, but do you want to type it? While Sylvia's typing her question, doesn't Jen or Dana have any follow-ons? Oh, is it? Okay, here we go. Is it possible to tie MailChimp emails to a website?
Yes, definitely. So you can integrate MailChimp to your website. So automatically when someone gives you their email and that email pop-up, for example, then MailChimp has that email. It's collected and it's stored. And then you can create your lists and your email campaigns directly from MailChimp.
She says, I currently send emails as a blog post.
Well, one blog post it generates. Okay, so like it's an automatic email when you have a blog, which is great if people are engaging with that blog content. But you can send other emails independently of a blog post through MailChimp to the email addresses that you've captured from your website.
Awesome. Great. Well, we are at 11, so right on time. If you guys if you didn't capture Steph's information, you want to connect with her, feel free to shoot me a message and I'll put you guys in touch. We will post this on our YouTube channel. So if you need to or want to listen to the playback, to kind of go through some of those checklists that I think are awesome. I'm going to be checking our auto flows for sure. That's a really good I think homework assignment for me personally, and maybe for everyone else. But thanks again for coming to our Main Street Collective this month. We will meet again in March, second Tuesday, 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, and we will be joined by Mary Trimmel, who is one of the research advocates at the Institute for Local and Self-Reliance, and we will be discussing small business policy and sort of what's changing on the policy front. So anyway, hope everyone can make it next month. And thank you again, Steph, for sharing your wisdom with all of us, and look forward to seeing everybody soon.
My pleasure. Thank you guys for coming. This was so fun.
Take care. Bye, everyone.
Yep.